Welcome back, Lorcana players. It's Poisonous. Today we're going to count down the best cards in the new Azurite Sea expansion, which is hitting stores soon. This top 7 countdown is going to look at the cards that I think are going to be the most played and most useful cards. Not necessarily the most powerful. There's lots of cards in every expansion that seem like they would be quite strong, but really aren't playable or don't fit anywhere. So we're going to be focusing on cards that are going to show up in new meta decks and will have an impact on the game. So it may not be the flashiest card, but it's a card that will find its place in some or every deck depending on how powerful it is. We're doing a top 7, so I want to look at the best cards from each set while skipping over all the pack filler and unplayable cards that inevitably come. Not every card is good or bad. Sometimes a card just needs some future support built around it to make it better, but we want to focus on the cards that will be good or playable with what's currently available. Let's dive into the new Amber cards. First card we'll take a look at spot 7 is Dale, Mischievous Ranger. When you play this character, you may put the top 3 cards of your deck into your discard to give chosen character -3 until the start of your next turn. This card could see some play. It is inkable. 3/4 stat line, it's pretty good. The effect is something that you could use to synergize with Chernabog or maybe the new Lilo, putting it into your discard where you can play it out of there, and the ability to give a character -3 strength until the start of your next turn may prevent them from challenging. Something like a big Robin Hood might be taken offline for a turn with this card, and it provides a shift target for the new Chip and Dale. So, this card could see play in the right deck. Coming in at 6 is Chippendale Recovery Rangers. This is an 8 cost uninkable 6/6. It does shift for 5, so it does get a discount on the shift, and it can shift on either Chip or Dale. It quests for 3, so it's got a good strong body, and the effect Search and Rescue. During your turn, whenever a character is put into your inkwell, you may return a character card from your discard to your hand. This recursion each time that you ink a card could be very useful. It will allow you to return characters that you might want to play. In a blue-yellow deck, you could bring back something like Detective Mickey, and when you play the Detective Mickey, you gain another ink, which lets you bring back another character, so you can start stacking up some recursion. It's a card that, is expensive, might see play in the right deck, but the effect could be pretty fun if you start rolling with it. Coming in at 5, we have Dale, Friend in Need. This character enters play exerted unless you have a character named Chip in play. It's a 3/4, quest for 2, it's 3 cost inkable. So this character basically has the same stats as the Moana that was on inkable in the last set, with the downside that it comes in exerted. It's still a good sized body for a 3 cost. It'll be hard to remove, and something like Fox would have to trade into it. So it may survive a turn exerted, but there's also some synergy with other cards that might help, like Sven, allowing you to ready a character, or even the new Simba that readies all your characters at the end of the turn. So it could end up getting readied through some other effect as well. It's a pretty good sized body, quest for 2, so don't underestimate it. I think that this card might see some play in the right deck. Coming in at 4 is Jim Hawkins, Honorable Pirate. 7 cost inkable 4/7, quest for 2. Does have Bodyguard. This card is designed to be a linchpin for pirate deck in order to get your refill of cards. Hire a crew. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of pirate character cards and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So in a pirate heavy deck, this card could be seen as a 7 cost draw 4, which would be quite powerful. It's unfortunate that this card is in Amber. I think that in Steel or in Ruby, where a lot of your really strong pirates are, this card would be, quite good. Instead, in Amber, I think that the card is just pretty good. The effect is strong if you're building around pirates. So, it is worth a mention. I think that it could see some play in a pirate deck. In our 3rd spot, we have Simba, Pride Protector. This is a 5 cost uninkable 4/4. Does shift for 3, so nice Floodborn effect there. Quest for 2, and has the effect at the end of your turn. If this character is exerted, you may ready your other characters. Because it's a may that doesn't specify each individual character, it's an all or nothing play. So you either ready all your other characters or you don't use the effect. Kind of like Clarabelle, you either draw the full amount of cards or you don't draw any cards. I think that this card has potential. As a 4/4, it does survive Medusa and some of the other Ruby removal. And, you know, the option to shift 3 onto the smaller bodyguard Simba or in Steel the 1-cost Simba does have some decent shift targets, and the effect could be useful in an aggro type deck or other decks where you want to, you know, protect your other characters by standing them up. In an Amber Steel, it could also help your Smee by readying him before he takes damage at the end of the turn, for example. It's an interestingly designed card. I think that this is a pretty good legendary, and it's a card that might see some play, maybe not as a 4 of in every deck, but it's something that I look forward to experimenting with. In our second spot, we have Tiana, Restaurant Owner. This is a 1/4, quest for 2, 3-cost on Inkable. So very similar stats to the other Tiana card. This card is also legendary. I think that Amber got 2 pretty good legendaries this time around. Her effect, whenever a character of yours is challenged, while this character is exerted, the challenging character gets -3 strength this turn unless their player pays 3 ink. So basically this card, once it's exerted, means that every time that your opponent wants to challenge your characters, they're gonna have to pay ink or they're gonna start losing strength off their characters. This card, I think, will definitely see play in a deck like Amber Amethyst Aggro, making your characters much harder to challenge. And you know, it's a kind of a fun card design. I do like this one, and I think that this card will see a lot of play. And our first number 1 is Lilo, Escape Artist. It's a 2-cost Inkable 1/2 that quests for 2, has the effect no place I'd rather be. At the start of your turn, if this card is in your discard, you may play her and she enters play exerted. So this is a very interesting card design. It's the first card like this from Lorcana, but it's a card that's kind of always in your hand in a sense, because once it ends up in your discard, you can bring it back at the start of your turn by paying its cost and putting it into play exerted. So you're kind of always have access to it. In an aggro deck, that means that this 2 questing body is always available. Comes in exerted, so it can be removed through challenging, but it is gonna, you know, take a lot of your opponent's resources to keep removing this every turn. I really like the card design. It's innovative, and I think that it's something that you're gonna want to have 4 of in a lot of different Amber decks, and I think you're gonna see this card a lot in this expansion. Overall, I think that Amber did pretty good in this expansion. They got some playable legendaries and some interesting cards with some good synergies. I think that, you know, Amber's in a pretty good place, and that there's definitely some potential for aggro and other shenanigans with the new cards from this set. Thanks for checking out my video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. You know, leave a comment and let me know what cards you think should have been in my top 7, and check out my other videos with the countdowns for the other colors. Cheers.